Hi, it's Dr. Mark Rosenberg. I used to be the director of the Walter Reed Emergency Department, and I'm recording this video because it's my duty to help as many Americans as possible right now. There's a big immune health issue right now. It's a tiny little protein called a cytokine, and every study I've read shows that cytokines are directly linked to the health situation we're currently fighting. I created a short video that explains a 30-second technique to help protect against cytokines using a few natural ingredients. The immune system doesn't just keep us safe and healthy. It's quite literally the master switch for energy, mobility, and mental clarity. If it's strong and healthy, we feel great and we're hard to kill. But when it's stressed and overworked, we feel tired, we're foggy, and we're achy. And we're much more susceptible to viruses, colds, and getting sick. I'm proud to say that since the start of 2020, 100% of my patients have remained safe and unaffected. So today, I'm sharing the exact same immune health guidelines that I've given my patients and my family to stay healthy and energized. My name is Dr. Mark Rosenberg. I earned my MD from Georgetown University School of Medicine, and I specialize in treating patients with stressed and compromised immune systems. And while I previously served in the U.S. Army and ran the emergency room at Bethesda Memorial Hospital, members of my own government now have a target on my back. You see, 8 years ago, I took stage 4 cancer patients out of the country to treat them with an experimental new therapy. It saved their lives, and a group of individuals from Harvard University has since partnered with my team and I to take this treatment to human clinical trials and then to market. There's only one problem. Because my treatment was not recognized by certain federal agencies back then, I made some powerful enemies. So believe me, I know what it's like to distrust the very same people who are supposed to keep us safe and healthy. That's why I'm going public with these immune health guidelines. The immune system is the master switch for how much energy and vitality we have. When it's stressed and overworked, we feel lousy and we get sick. But when it's running well, we feel great and we're hard to kill. Immune health has been a cornerstone of my research for almost 2 decades. And right now, there are real consequences to getting this wrong, so consider grabbing a pen and paper to take notes. Or simply pay close attention, because I prepared a simple checklist which will be available for free download at the end of this short video. I'm also going to share the at-home immunity test that I've given to my patients. It's a quick, simple, painless way to tell if the immune system is healthy or stressed. Doing this test daily can save a person's life right now, and it only takes a minute a day. And that will be available as a free download as well, so please stick around for it. No one has to be living in fear right now. And since we're months into this, we have real data about what works, what doesn't, and what we need to do to stay safe and healthy. In fact, my patients are using this time as an opportunity to improve their immune health and emerge even stronger and harder to kill. But please be ready to have assumptions challenged. In fact, some of what I share is going to expose and disprove much of what doctors and health authorities have been saying so far. So how can I be sure that it's right? Well, let me tell you about my background and how I came to discover this. Again, my name is Dr. Mark Rosenberg. I'm an emergency room doctor, an oncology researcher, and I run a private medical clinic in Boca Raton, Florida. I earned my undergraduate degree from the University of Pennsylvania and my MD from the Georgetown University School of Medicine. I then went on to serve in the U.S. Army and completed my residency at the Brooke Army Medical Center, where I received the Teacher and Resident of the Year award. I quickly fell in love with emergency medicine and spent the next 20 years working and managing emergency departments. It was incredibly rewarding to save lives every day. But over time, I began to get frustrated with the state of our country's health and health care. Despite being elected to numerous boards and committees, I found the medical establishment was slow to move and resistant to any ideas that challenged their orthodoxy. They were all about treating the conditions, but no one was talking about how to prevent these conditions from happening in the first place and helping patients live longer, healthier lives. My frustration continued to grow, but it didn't boil over until August 12, 2004. That's the day that my own mother walked into my emergency department complaining that she was short of breath. 90 minutes later, with her CT scan in my hand, I did the most difficult thing I've ever done in my life. I looked her in the eye and told her that she had advanced stage lung cancer with likely less than a year to live. I did my best to be strong and professional, but the dam burst the moment she left the hospital and tears began pouring down my face. My frustration was overwhelming. I'd saved tens of thousands of lives with my own hands, but I had no good answers for my mom, and indeed I lost her within a year. Driving home from work that night, I decided to quit the ER and devote the rest of my life to preventative medicine. And now that I've spent over 15 years running a research center and treating thousands more patients, there's one thing that I can say for sure. A healthy immune system is the difference between sickness and vitality. It's the difference between feeling down and feeling great. It's the difference between being vulnerable and being hard to kill. And it's the first thing I address with patients, which is one reason that they fared so well. Here's the simple way that I explain it to them. The immune system is a security force patrolling the body and defending against foreign invaders. And the first responders in this force are little proteins that produce cytokines. They swarm to wherever the invaders are, mount the first attack, and call in reinforcements when necessary. For example, if someone cuts their hand, a wound opens, and foreign invaders like bacteria try to get in. That's when the immune system unleashes cytokines. They go into attack mode, and the area gets painful and inflamed while they fight the bacteria. Then, once the bacteria have been neutralized, the cytokines recede and the wound heals. Or how about a whole body invader, like a cold or a flu? In this case, the cytokines are unleashed across the whole body, which is why we get tired, achy, and foggy. There are battles going on everywhere. Our lymph nodes swell up too. Those are the war rooms for our immune system, where our immune cells coordinate their attacks, releasing appropriate cytokines wherever they need it. Then, after the cold or flu has been eliminated, the cytokines, with their immune cells, begin to retreat, and they go back into patrol mode, and our energy and vitality return. This sort of healthy, balanced immune activity is exactly what it means to have a healthy, strong immune system. When there aren't any invaders, it's in patrol mode. And when an invader gets in, it unleashes the immune cells along with their cytokines, and they go into attack mode. So what does it mean to have a weak immune system? Well, most of my patients guess that it has to do with a weak cytokine response, but the answer can be exactly the opposite. People with a weak immune system often have overactive cytokines, like little stressed out patrolmen, ready to attack at the slightest provocation. So I always tell patients that weak isn't really the right word. Instead, we say that an unhealthy immune system is stressed. When people are stressed out, they're likely to be quick to anger, right? Maybe they pick fights too easily and say things they regret. Well, it's the exact same with the immune system. Allergies and asthma, for example, are when a stressed out immune system unleashes cytokines to attack otherwise harmless invaders like dust and peanuts. And autoimmune conditions like type 1 diabetes and arthritis usually happens when cytokines attack the body's own tissue. In all cases, it's a stressed out, overactive immune system that causes the problem and makes us sick when we shouldn't be. In fact, this is exactly what's putting so many people into emergency rooms right now. It all starts when this new, unrecognized invader enters the body and takes up residence in airways. You can guess what happens next. Immune cells send cytokines to the scene and the attack begins. Nothing out of the ordinary. Some people develop flu symptoms, some people feel a little bit down, and others feel nothing at all. But in some people, their body completely overreacts to this invader and sends in so many cytokines that a storm erupts. This cytokine storm is so overwhelming that it begins to damage lung tissue. According to Dr. Stanley Perlman, a virologist at the University of Iowa, that's when you end up with a lot of these really severe inflammatory conditions like pneumonia, shortness of breath, inflammation of the airway, and so forth. Where it goes from there depends on the person. Once unleashed in the body, this cytokine storm can travel through the bloodstream to other organs, including the liver, the heart, and the brain, where the damage continues. So why is this happening in some people and not others? Well, the immune system is incredibly complex, so it's difficult to point to just one root cause. It could be genetic. Some people are born with more aggressive cytokine activity, just like some people are born with a more aggressive personality. It could be age-related. The older we get, the more battles our immune system has had to fight, and the more stressed it becomes over the years. It could be related to a condition like asthma, diabetes, or obesity. All of these increase immune stress and cytokine activity in the body. It could even be environmental. We're exposed to a lot of unnatural chemicals in our food, air, and water. In just a moment, I'll reveal several foods which can trigger a cytokine attack, because this one is becoming more of an issue for people these days. Most often, though, immune stress is caused by a combination of all of the above. Since there are so many variables, I always order 2 tests on my patients' blood panels: C-reactive protein and sedimentation rate. These tests don't measure cytokines directly, but they can tell us if the immune system is stressed out, and they're the best that most LabCorp and Quest offices can do right now. So I'd encourage all Americans to ask their doctors to order these blood tests as well. But since it's risky to even step into a clinic right now, I want to share my at-home immunity test. I ask my aging patients to keep a little notebook on hand and record the answers to these simple questions every day. The first question is, on a scale of 1 to 10, how is your energy today? Recall that when cytokines are on the attack or out of control, it drains energy from the rest of the body. So of course, energy levels plummet down to a 2 or 3 when you're sick. But if someone's cytokines are always overactive because of age, health conditions, or otherwise, their energy levels can get stuck somewhere between 4 and 6. And to me, that's a big red flag and a sign of much worse things to come. The next question is, on a scale of 1 to 10, how clear and upbeat is my thinking? You see, when overactive cytokines get into the brain, they can activate glial cells, which is exactly what happens when someone gets a concussion. That can really depress our thinking. It's the equivalent of a bunch of traffic accidents in the brain, all happening during rush hour. And since we don't have any pain receptors in the brain, people often experience this as fogginess or a depressed mood. So if someone's mood or mental clarity dips below 7 for more than 7 days in a row, I take it seriously, especially because too much cytokine activity in the brain has been linked to long-term mental decline, dementia, and worse. Moving on to question 3. On a scale of 1 to 10, how comfortable is my digestion? Frequent gas and bloating can be a sign of an inflamed digestive tract. That's where the gut gets weakened and sometimes even ruptured by overactive cytokine activity. And that can lead to all sorts of health issues. So it's definitely something we want to track. Now, of course, I'd expect someone to record a 2 if they ate a big plate of beans and broccoli the night before. But if they're often at a 5 or below, that's when I like to order stool samples to investigate further. And question 4 is, on a scale of 1 to 10, how comfortable are my joints? Cytokines often deposit in joints where their attacks become annoying and in some cases immobilizing. So that's usually what precedes arthritis. So if a patient's joint comfort is less than 6 for too many days in a row, I want to hear about it. Finally, I ask my patients to tally up their points every day. Because look, we might have a few nights of bad sleep and feel tired and foggy for a few days. That doesn't necessarily mean anything. But if a person's combined score is 20 or lower for more than 7 days in a row, that could mean their cytokines are out of control. And that's when I want to hear from them. Now I move pretty quickly here, so at the end of this video, I'll show you how to download a template for this test for yourself. But there's also a 5th question that I introduced to patients in early March. On a scale of 1 to 100, what is my blood oxygen level? A strange question for sure, but this one could be a lifesaver right now. According to Dr. Richard Levitin, who works in the New York City Emergency Department, a vast majority of patients I met had remarkably low oxygen saturations at triage, seemingly incompatible with life. But they were using their cell phones as we put them on monitors. You see, many people who end up in the emergency department right now have dangerously low blood oxygen levels, but they don't even know it. We call this silent hypoxia. Dr. Levitin goes on to say, silent hypoxia, progressing rapidly to respiratory failure, explains cases of patients dying suddenly after not even feeling short of breath. It's something we've never seen in the emergency department before, which is why it's so important to get ahead of it with this daily at-home test. It is possible to treat it if we catch it early, and anyone at sea level should be looking for blood oxygen of at least 94%. This test requires a simple pulse oximeter, which costs about $50 on Amazon. My team and I have also been working to source them for our patients because they're frequently selling out. But in my opinion, these are more important to hunt down than that last roll of toilet paper. So if you find one, pounce on it. I've also included a note about that on the checklist that I'll tell you how to download. Speaking of that checklist, here are just a few of my immune health guidelines to stay safe and healthy right now. Following them to the T can actually improve our own immune health and make us harder to kill. And of course, right now, it starts with limiting our exposure. It doesn't matter what anyone else says. Until we have a vaccine or herd immunity, social distancing is critical and masks work. According to a recent study from MIT, virus particles can travel up to 27 feet in the air. So any mask is better than none, even if it's homemade from an old sweatshirt. In fact, the number of viral particles picked up from cloth is a mere 1% of those picked up from hard surfaces. We think this is because natural fibers break up the droplets in which viruses get suspended. Of course, hand washing is critical too, but there is a possible risk here. You see, soap can break up the fatty lipid layer that coats this invader and allows it to survive on hands and surfaces. So go for a good scrub, 30 seconds or more. But I advise against using antibacterial soap. It destroys the natural microbiome of the skin, which is a line of immune defense that we don't need compromised right now. When soap isn't available, hand gel is an acceptable alternative. But it should have at least 70% alcohol content, and we need to use it for at least 30 seconds at a time. Purell is a safe choice, but it's sold out in many places. So I have a simple recipe for an at-home hand sanitizer, which I've put in my free immune health guidelines download. Diet is crucial too, and for many people, this is a big opportunity for immune health improvement. By and large, I have my patients on an anti-inflammatory diet. That's because I want to limit their cytokine response to food. Most people have heard about inflammation, but don't know exactly what it is. But now you do. It's what happens when cytokines are unleashed and a part of the body gets heated up by the attack. This is okay in small doses, but when it goes on for too long, it becomes chronic, and that's when it causes real issues. Far too many Americans eat foods that provoke a non-stop low-grade cytokine response. The specifics are too long for me to share here, but I've created an anti-inflammatory eating handbook, and I'll tell you how to get that for free in just a minute. But here are 3 quick and easy wins that can be reduced from the diet immediately for better immune health and more energy and clarity. First up is palm oil. It pops up in a lot of snack foods these days, even so-called healthy snacks, almond butters, and protein bars. So be sure to read labels. Most of this stuff goes through a process that makes it look like a foreign invader to the body, so it can create a lot of immune system stress. A second food to look out for is any meat or dairy that's not grass-fed. Most big farms feed corn to their cows, which their digestive systems aren't made for. When these poor cows eat it, it becomes a highly inflammatory fat in their bodies. And when we eat this meat, it can provoke a cytokine response. So try to buy grass-fed meat whenever possible. And a third big risk is any food with hydrogenated fats. Usually it shows up on the label as partially hydrogenated vegetable oil. It's found in French fries, margarine, vegetable shortening, and store-bought baked foods. Now that sounds like a lot, but in my anti-inflammatory eating handbook, you'll see how easy it is to make substitutions. For example, instead of French fries, try sweet potatoes baked in coconut oil until they're crispy. And of course, it's easy to swap out margarine for grass-fed butter. The studies on hydrogenated fats are extensive and conclusive. They add a lot of stress to the immune system, and they put us at risk when bigger threats are coming along. I understand that we all want comfort foods when times are tough, and we don't have to give them up. So please, stick around and download my anti-inflammatory eating handbook for free. Just a few simple and easy changes that can calm the immune system and limit the cytokine response to the food we eat. Remember, my goal isn't to just help people survive. I want them to become healthier, stronger, and even harder to kill. Immune health doesn't stop mattering when this is all over. It's the foundation of good health and a long life. So I'm hopeful that people who adopt these habits now will carry them on for decades to come. We've just scratched the surface here, but right now, I want to share something else that I discovered through my research. It's something that I've been teaching other doctors for years through my fellowship and on lecture circuits. But everyone is finally starting to talk about it now, thanks to recent events. In my opinion, it's one of the most important things we can do for our immune system. And apparently, Big Pharma agrees, since this is where a lot of their R&D dollars are currently being spent. You see, while there are many cytokines in the body, two of them can be particular troublemakers. And right now, they're the ones causing a lot of problems. They're known as IL-6 or interleukin-6 and tumor necrosis factor alpha, abbreviated TNF-alpha. You can think of them as the incredible hulks of the immune system. They're incredibly powerful, yes, but they can also be reckless and destructive and hard to contain once they're unleashed. I first discovered these two psycho killers while studying tumor cells, and I immediately zeroed in on them as a risk. Now, here's where it gets interesting. In the first clinical study of patients from China, TNF-alpha was found in very high concentrations, and influenza virus studies have shown that TNF-alpha is responsible not just for the cytokine storm, but also for its escalation. And how about IL-6? Well, this cytokine was also found in high concentrations in early patient samples from China. That was no surprise to me. When this cytokine is out of control, it's responsible for all sorts of problems, even when we're not facing new viruses. But it could be especially problematic if it's running rampant in the lungs. Two researchers showed by reviewing 87 separate studies that it could be responsible for asthma and COPD. Perhaps that's why many pharmaceutical companies are focusing their current efforts on controlling this specific cytokine. In fact, I've been booked solid with calls to share my research and insights. So these are all the issues I've been focused on since that fateful day that my mom appeared in the emergency department. It's what I've taught through my fellowship and what I've lectured on to rooms of thousands of doctors. It's why I was elected to the board of the American Association of Anti-Aging Medicine, a group that trains tens of thousands of the most forward-thinking doctors in America and around the world, all because of the question that kept me up nights, that haunted me. What could I have done to improve my mother's odds? And when it came to her immune system, all of my research kept leading back to the same place. A family of plant-based compounds called flavonoids. Flavonoids are the defense compounds in some of nature's healthiest plants: green tea, red cherries, turmeric, purple grapes, raw cocoa, and many others. In plants, flavonoids serve to protect their host from the harsh stresses of sunlight, wind, and rain. Originally discovered in 1936 by Nobel Prize winner Dr. Albert Szent-Györgyi, it wasn't until recently that scientists discovered what they could do for the immune system. Countless studies have now shown that flavonoids can help us live longer, healthier, and more vibrant lives. And these same exhaustive studies show that flavonoids are extremely effective at promoting healthy, balanced cytokine activity. Yes, even IL-6 and TNF-alpha. Yes, as excited as I was to discover all of these benefits, further research took a discouraging turn. You see, to get the full benefits that flavonoids bring to the immune system and support lifelong health and vitality, I learned that it simply wouldn't be possible to get flavonoids from a reasonable diet. For one thing, modern farming practices have depleted our soil of its nutrients, so modern fruits and vegetables are significantly lower in vital nutrients like flavonoids. By some estimates, we now need 10 servings of some plants to get the same nutrients as we get in just one serving from 50 years ago. And unfortunately, the nutrient content is degraded even further during the long process of picking, storing, shipping, and delivering to the supermarket. When our ancestors wanted to eat a fresh fruit or vegetable, they would pull it out of the ground and enjoy it then and there. This is why I encourage my patients to buy from farmers markets whenever they can. But I also understand that many Americans don't have the time or money to do this. And even if they did, most flavonoids require high, pure concentrations for their benefits to be realized. For example, someone would have to drink 8 to 16 cups of green tea every day to get the immune-supporting benefits that its flavonoids can offer. And with over 6,000 different flavonoids, which ones would deliver real results? My Institute for Healthy Aging gave me the perfect opportunity to find out. Some patients who come to see me are very sick, and I'm the last hope. Patients like Doris, who wrote, "Dr. Rosenberg has been treating me for a rare and aggressive uterine cancer for the last 3.5 years. I am cancer-free and enjoying an active lifestyle." He's on the cutting edge of cancer treatment and has lectured his peers on his methods at Harvard University and is loved by all the patients I have met in his office. I cannot praise this remarkable physician enough. Or this patient who asked to remain anonymous. He is the most knowledgeable, incredible, caring, and thorough doctor. For over 30 plus years, I have been misdiagnosed with hypothyroidism. I have suffered with every symptom and at least 15 doctors with the same incorrect diagnosis. Not until I visited with Dr. Rosenberg was I able to finally receive the help and healing back to good health. Other patients simply want to work with a physician who's at the front lines of research, like this patient of mine. I am an MD, and he goes way beyond all others. Dr. Rosenberg is one of a kind. He is the doctor you wait 30 years for. He is far ahead of the current medical knowledge curve. He knows all the latest medical literature. I am an MD, and I tell everyone he's the smartest and best doctor I've ever known. What makes him so special is his dedication to make individuals better. It's an honor to receive these sorts of reviews, and I feel the same way about my patients. They're the ones who trust this maverick research doctor. So over a decade ago, I began to incorporate flavonoids into many of their treatments, starting with one you may have heard of, curcumin. No one was talking about it back then, but multiple studies have shown that curcumin can help maintain healthy TNF-alpha and IL-6 cytokine levels. Unfortunately, there's a difference between test tube studies and real-world results, and what I saw in my patients was far from breathtaking. You see, curcumin is not easily absorbed by the body. Much of it gets destroyed by enzymes in the gut, and what little does make it through often has a hard time penetrating the cells to deliver its benefits. Fortunately, neither my patients nor I gave up, and I eventually discovered a clinical-grade liposomal curcumin developed by scientists at UCLA. Rather than combine it with black pepper extract, like so many drugstore curcumins, these scientists managed to wrap their curcumin in a little layer of fat, so it could easily pass through the stomach and into the bloodstream. This now patented preparation proved itself in over 17 published double-blind placebo-controlled human studies. And boy, my patients sure felt it too. For some, it was improved energy and mental clarity. Others immediately started breathing better. Quite a few said that their bloating disappeared, and others still had incredible relief in their joints. Now, this was really something else, because these are the exact sorts of things we'd expect with a healthy, balanced immune system and healthy, normal IL-6 and TNF-alpha activity. As you'll recall, those two incredible health cytokines can cause a lot of problems if the immune system sets them loose in our lungs, our joints, and our brain. So I was extremely pleased to see real-world results. Remember, my real goal is to support optimal immune health and make my patients hard to kill. So when clinical trials, blood tests, and subjective results all line up, that's a really big deal. The same way that low energy, fogginess, bloating, and achiness are warning signs of a stressed out immune system. We have high confidence that we're supporting optimal immune health when energy levels rise, when clarity returns, when digestion is comfortable, and when it's easy to move the joints. Spurred on by this exciting finding, my hunt for other flavonoids accelerated to a feverish pace. And after months of in-depth analysis, testing with patients, and self-administration, I'm happy to report that this liposomal curcumin is just one of 7 incredible flavonoids that can support a healthy immune system, improve our vitality, and make us hard to kill. And what's more, I believe that when these 7 flavonoids are taken together, they have a synergistic effect. In other words, they work even better as an immune supporting team than they do on their own. You'll see how in a minute. The next step became clear to me. I began to help more patients source these 7 flavonoids from reputable suppliers. It wasn't cheap, but the results were nothing short of miraculous. Marie, a 63-year-old who was complaining of intermittent fatigue and occasional sleepiness, reported that within 5 days of starting on the formula, her energy levels shot up, her stress declined significantly, and she started sleeping soundly through the night. Nick, an overworked and burned out 46-year-old mutual fund manager, felt so much better and was able to stop dragging at work and rediscover the joy and confidence he felt in his late 20s. Chantel, a patient of mine who had gained over 15 pounds in the last 2 years, checked in with me at the 30-day mark. She told me that she was waking up full of energy every day and that her weight had already dropped considerably with all of the new activity in her life. Over the next 6 months, as the safety of this formula proved itself, I rolled it out to more patients and the outcome was almost always the same. Within 7 to 14 days, patients felt as if their bodies and lives had been restored. They were showing all of the improvements I'd expect when an immune system goes from stressed and aggressive to healthy and balanced. And best of all, their blood tests confirmed what they were feeling. This was no mere placebo effect. They were actually getting healthier and heartier. Many told me that for the first time in years, they were able to do the things they once loved. Gardening during the day and then keeping up with their families through the afternoon and evening. Bicycling, jogging, hiking, and other athletic activities that they thought were behind them. Still, more reported that their moods improved dramatically and that they were more motivated to be social and active. That's when I began to search for a manufacturer, and I insisted on maintaining my standard of purity and ingredient quality. I knew that this product would be going out into my clinic and to partner clinics. Real patients with real health issues would be taking it, so nothing less than the best would do. Now I have to tell you, finding a facility up to my standards was not an easy task. Many supplement facilities either used outdated technology or they don't take the proper steps to ensure the purity of their products. My team and I placed test orders at some of the biggest manufacturers in the country, and to be honest, our findings were alarming. We performed DNA tests on the samples we received and found upsetting differences between what we've ordered and what they produced. But after 3 months, we connected with a CGMP certified facility just outside of Provo, Utah. They were experienced in phytonutrient production and had a long track record of producing formulations free of allergens such as pollen, gluten, soy, and dairy, free of pesticides and herbicides, and with non-GMO ingredients. Impressed with their knowledge and experience, my team flew out to tour their facility and met with their director of product formulation. We worked to develop a customized formulation that matched, and in the case of 2 ingredients, exceeded the same high standards of flavonoids that my patients were taking. That was 2 years ago, and until recently, we only produced small batches of this formula and sold it privately through authorized clinics. But in February 2020, everything changed. And while my patients remained remarkably healthy, we watched as the rest of the world succumbed to the greatest health challenge we've seen in generations. That's why my team has been working around the clock to ramp up production. So today, I'm extremely excited to get this immune health breakthrough into the hands of more Americans. It's called BioShield Plus. It's a clinical grade supplement that supports a healthy, balanced immune system in the face of the most dangerous invaders. BioShield Plus combines 7 of nature's most powerful immune defense flavonoids into 2 small capsules that are taken with the first meal of the day. And not only does it provide much needed support for a stressed out immune system when we all need it most, but many people report that within 7 to 14 days, they feel better than they have in ages. In nearly 4 decades as a practicing MD, I can honestly say that I've never seen a formula that works like this. So let me tell you about the 7 incredible flavonoids in BioShield Plus and why Americans should be taking every single one of them right now. It all starts with liposomal curcumin. If there's one ingredient that makes a person hard to kill, it's this one. This curcumin has been clinically shown to improve energy, clarity, and mood. It's been clinically shown to improve joint comfort and mobility. It's been clinically shown to decrease triglycerides. I believe that's all because it's 95 times more bioavailable than standard curcumin. So it actually works to support a stressed out immune system and regulate aggressive IL-6 and TNF-alpha. This liposomal curcumin is quite a bit more expensive than the cheap alternatives you'll find in the drugstore, but it's tested and proven, which is why it's the cornerstone of this formula. The second clinical grade flavonoid I've included in BioShield Plus is cocoa extract. Cocoa was revered as a superfood by the Mayans, but even they didn't know just how powerful it is. Out of the top 1,000 flavonoid-rich foods, cocoa contains the highest amount of flavonoids per milligram. Yes, it's been clinically demonstrated to control IL-6 and TNF-alpha, but it can also limit production of another dangerous cytokine called IL-1 beta. This is exactly what I was talking about when I mentioned how the combination of these ingredients creates an unbreakable immune support team. Because while IL-6 and TNF-alpha are the most troublesome cytokines right now, they're not the only ones that can cause problems for us. Remember, this formula was designed well before 2020, and the priority was to support immune health across the board. That's why it's important to manage IL-1 beta levels, and that's why I've included cocoa extract. Moving on, the third powerhouse flavonoid in BioShield Plus is called tart cherry extract. This potent little compound makes a beeline for aggressive TNF-alpha to get it under control. Remember, TNF-alpha is responsible for many cytokine storms. This is why I love having this specialist flavonoid on the team, and the proof is in the the data. Tart cherry extract has been clinically shown to decrease abdominal fat, improve sleep quality, boost cardiovascular health, and enhance joint comfort. And in a double-blind study of half-marathon runners, researchers concluded that inflammatory markers were 47% lower in the tart cherry group than in the placebo group. If it works that well in endurance athletes, just imagine what it can do for the rest of us. Perhaps it's becoming evident just how powerful these little natural defense flavonoids can be. In fact, if BioShield Plus only contained these 3 ingredients, it would already be the most effective natural formula for supporting the immune system and a healthy cytokine response. But my goal wasn't to produce the best solution out there. It was to produce the best solution possible. And to do that, I included 4 additional flavonoids, which had both incredible clinical studies behind them and also which delivered incredible results for my patients. The first is called Boswellia serrata. In the world of Ayurvedic medicine, Boswellia serrata is nothing new. For thousands of years in the East, it was a go-to for improving digestion and managing belly bloat. We now know that it can promote joint comfort too, as many patients who tried it will attest. And amazingly, it also has neuroprotective benefits and can promote a calm and upbeat mood. You see, Boswellia has been shown to modulate 2 other dangerous cytokines called IL-2 and IL-10. Both of these cytokines were also found in high concentrations in early viral studies coming out of China. So the bottom line is this: Boswellia serrata is one of the most versatile flavonoids on earth, and it's something that everyone should be taking today and every day. Along those lines, another must-take flavonoid in BioShield Plus is called quercetin. There's a bounty of clinical data showing its effectiveness in regulating both TNF-alpha and IL-6. But what's interesting is that quercetin can provide targeted IL-6 control in the lungs. That's more important than ever right now, and it's why I consider it an essential flavonoid for staying safe and hard to kill. But it has some especially interesting effects when combined with the next flavonoid on our list, resveratrol. As could be expected, resveratrol is highly effective at regulating both TNF-alpha and IL-6. So this super nutrient has shown some benefits in winter months when colds and flus are common, but it only starts there. You see, resveratrol has also been shown to decrease the harmful effects of a high-calorie, high-fat diet and supporting healthy blood sugar levels. And amazingly, when combined with quercetin, it can lead to a significant reduction in fat deposit. Remember, fat cells are like little cytokine factories, so being hard to kill means taking them on however we can. Which leads me to the final flavonoid in BioShield Plus, EGCG. It's a tremendously powerful extract from green tea. My first reason for including it is for how well it regulates IL-6 levels. But it's also one of the most potent fat burners on the planet. So this double-duty flavonoid got my nod in the final BioShield Plus formula. Now for just a moment, imagine the feeling of taking this doctor-formulated supplement for the first time. Each capsule is meticulously produced with clean, non-GMO ingredients. The freshness is evident as soon as this safety seal is removed, as the smell of a raw spice market wafts out of the bottle. A serving starts with 2 pills in the morning with a cool glass of water. Then, as the 7 protective flavonoids go to work on the immune system, the changes come on noticeably. Some patients feel it within hours, looser and more capable, like the body is unwinding after years of being under siege. Others feel it over the coming 14 days as they begin waking up with more natural energy because their immune health and their life are back on track. Now, here's something interesting. Very occasionally, patients contact my office about a month into their BioShield regimen, tell me they don't feel anything. And of course, I never want someone to spend money on something that's not working for them, so I never push them to continue, despite the many documented long-term benefits of these flavonoids. But then, like clockwork, I hear from them again a week or 2 later telling me I didn't realize how much better I was feeling until I stopped taking it and started feeling worse again. That's when they sign up for monthly auto shipments. Because for most, once they start taking BioShield Plus, they never want to go back to the bad old days. Now, is there anyone who should not take this formula? Well, all of the ingredients in BioShield Plus have been proven safe, even in high doses. But the only people who do not fall in love with BioShield Plus are those who don't have any immune system stress. How does someone know if they are one of those with no immune system stress? Well, without running blood work, it's tough to say. But my at-home immunity test is a good place to start. If someone's energy is already top-notch, if their mental clarity is sharp as a tack, if their digestion is smooth and regular, and if their joints feel like those of a 20-year-old, well, they probably won't feel BioShield Plus as much as their peers. Of course, that's not to say they shouldn't be taking it. In my medical opinion, it's the most important supplement to take right now, and the long-term benefits are well documented. Taken daily, these ingredients simply make a person harder to kill. And for most, there's going to be an immediate feeling of vitality and energy as their stressed out immune system gets the support that it's been craving for years or decades. This incredible feeling of total rejuvenation is why patients have had no problem paying $99.95 for a 30-day supply. That's what we've had to charge. These premium flavonoids are expensive to obtain, and because we've only produced 500 units a month, we don't get volume discounts. But because of our country's immunity crisis, we massively scaled up our production, so we've been able to negotiate some big price reductions from our suppliers. So while we've settled on a retail price of $69.95 per bottle, we're reducing the price even further while our country deals with this immunity crisis. Today, we're making BioShield Plus available for only $49.95, or even less with 3-bottle or 6-bottle packages. That's an instant savings of at least $20. Unfortunately, for now, we can only allow purchases of up to 6 bottles per customer. I'm sure you understand why. So if our 3-unit or 6-unit options are available, then I highly encourage grabbing one. Every package will include several free downloads, my full set of immune health guidelines, my anti-inflammatory eating handbook, and my at-home immune test template. And for as long as we can, we're also including a free pulse oximeter with the 6-unit option. I wish we could include it in every package, but we have a very limited supply of these. And as you'll see on Amazon, they are not cheap right now. Since we took this product live on our website several weeks ago, demand has absolutely skyrocketed. We sold through our first 5,000 units in just days and had to take the shopping cart down while we waited for our manufacturer to send the next shipment. As I record this, 15,000 new units are being delivered to our clean warehouse, and we have another 15,000 on order. We expect to have frequent stockouts, so it's all hands on deck with our manufacturing partner. But one thing is for sure, we will sell out and we will go on back order. So certain packages may be grayed out on the next page if that happens. Also, at some point, we will have to raise the price again. I know that some people will claim that we're being opportunistic, but that's simply not true. In fact, anyone who buys BioShield Plus today at this reduced price will lock in their price for life. And at these prices, we are barely breaking even. We're simply doing what we can to get BioShield Plus into the hands of any American who can use it. And we're doing it urgently, even if we're just covering our costs. We're not taking any money from the government right now because we know that other small local businesses need it more than we do. And we're donating a % revenue to our wonderful nonprofit called A Million Masks. They provide N95 respirators to frontline healthcare workers. So please know that with every bottle of BioShield Plus that we sell, one of our country's heroes is getting the protection that they need to do their best work. And you're getting the immune support that you need for health and vitality. The standard dose is only 2 capsules per day, taken with the first meal. They're small, vegetarian capsules, and they go down easily with a glass of water. They're free of any allergens, no dairy, no soy, no gluten, no shellfish. And for even greater immune support, it's safe to take up to 6 BioShield Plus capsules per day. Many of our current customers are doing that right now, which is another great reason to stock up. So click over to the next page now to choose the right package. Whether it's 1 bottle, 3 bottles, or 6, every package comes with our 1-year unconditional guarantee. If you decide for any reason that BioShield Plus isn't right for you, you're welcome to call us or email us and ask for a full refund. Yes, even if you take every single pill. All you need to do is send back the empty bottles and we'll refund your entire order. It's quick and easy to talk to one of our customer happiness agents. No complicated phone menus and no hassle. They're a wonderful group of people, mostly stay-at-home moms and dads right here in America, and their only job is to make sure that customers are happy. We take security and privacy more seriously than most Fortune 500 companies seem to. Our secure checkout system uses military-grade encryption so you can order with confidence. And your full credit card number is stored encrypted, so no human eyes can ever see it, not even our customer happiness agents. We want to earn your trust and be your partner in good health. On the next page, where you choose which package you want, you'll see many of our testimonials as well. Not only that, but we offer some additional bonuses for customers who choose the 3-bottle or 6-bottle options. That's because we like to have a direct relationship with our customers so we can provide 5-star support whenever they need it. So click on over to the next page and choose a package before we've sold out. That's where we have reviews, as well as FAQs that we've prepared. It's my sincere belief that every American should be taking BioShield Plus today and every day. And it's possible to get it for as little as $1.10 a day right now. So my team and I are doing everything we can to get it produced and into the hands of those who could use it most. Most packages ship from our warehouse just hours after we receive the order. So you could be taking your first serving of BioShield Plus in just a few short days. My hope is that people emerge from this awful episode not just safe, but feeling better than they have in years. Now, just for a moment, let's consider a life without BioShield Plus. We've already talked about what happens when the immune system is stressed out and when cytokines get out of control. It's an immediate risk. Yes, but it can also lead to serious problems down the road. Immune system problems are usually hidden and misdiagnosed as low energy or brain fog until one day when the problem becomes so obvious that even an average doctor recognizes it for what it is. But by then, it's often too late to reverse the damage. That's why I created BioShield Plus, and why many patients made it a daily habit even before immunity became a thing in 2020. Just 2 little capsules a day can improve health and vitality in so many ways. So go ahead and click on the button below to choose your package before we sell out. We're doing everything we can to keep the supplies flowing and to make sure that BioShield Plus remains available. It could be in your hands and supporting your immune system in just a few short days from now. And remember, supplies are tight and this pricing will not last. So try a bottle of BioShield Plus today. Save at least $20 and know that the order is protected by our 1-year guarantee. This is how to improve energy, clarity, and vitality. This is how to support optimal immune health. This is how to become hard to kill. And I'm confident that anyone who takes it is going to love how they feel. It's been my pleasure being here with you today, and I look forward to serving you further, however I can. Click the Next Step button now, and let's get started. Hi, are you still there? Well, you probably have some questions, and that's just fine. When it comes to your health, it only makes sense to be as informed as possible. So let's take a moment to go through some of the most common questions I receive about BioShield Plus. Question 1 is, I've seen some other immune health products advertised, so how is BioShield different? I love this question because, yes, there are other immune health supplements out there, and some of them are great. I personally take a buffered vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc, and a few other raw ingredients. But BioShield was created to address a glaring shortfall. You see, nothing else out there provides targeted immune support for some of the most dangerous inflammatory cytokines in the human body: interleukin-6, TNF-alpha, and interleukin-1 beta. These can be huge troublemakers in the lungs, the arteries, the joints, and the brain. And before they cause lasting damage, they just plain make life worse. Low energy, fogginess, a depressed mood, poor digestion, aches and pains that just won't go away. These symptoms are all linked to these overactive inflammatory cytokines. So every single ingredient in BioShield Plus was chosen to address these specific cytokines. Each ingredient has multiple clinical studies behind it, with verifiable results. And when it came to reviewing the research, I brought my decades of medical experience to the table. But what I love about BioShield Plus, it's not just an immune formula, it's really a 5-in-1 health solution. Yes, it can make your immune system healthy and hard to kill, but it can also boost your energy, improve your mood, relieve activity-related aches and pains, and soothe a bloated, gassy, uncomfortable belly. That's because it was designed to address the root cause of so many health issues: dangerous inflammatory cytokines. So there's really nothing else out there like BioShield Plus, and I suspect you'll realize that soon after starting your regimen. Okay, question 2. Are there any side effects? Well, BioShield Plus is made with 100% natural ingredients. It's free of soy, dairy, gluten, shellfish, and all of the other common allergens. And each batch is tested multiple times. The ingredients are tested before the product is made. Then the batches are tested for quality and purity as they roll off the line. And finally, they're sent to an independent third party for what's called DNA analysis. That's where they make sure that the final capsules contain the same ratio of the same ingredients that we combine at the start. And unlike so many other supplements out there, BioShield Plus contains no artificial flavors, colors, or fillers that could provoke your immune system. You can smell the fresh organic ingredients as soon as you open a bottle. I'm putting my reputation on the line with this product, so my team and I have done everything we can to make sure that every single capsule of BioShield Plus is completely safe for you. I take it, as do members of my family and many of the wonderful people I work with in my office. Now, of course, there's always a possibility that someone doesn't tolerate a certain ingredient well. For example, I know that some people have sensitivity to non-buffered vitamin C. Of course, there's no vitamin C in BioShield Plus, but on the remote chance that there is something in the product that doesn't sit right with you, then please contact my team for a quick refund. At the time I record this, thousands of Americans are taking BioShield Plus daily, and our team has not had a single complaint about a side effect. So I want you to feel confident placing your order. Now, moving on to question 3. How will I know it's working? And this is my favorite question because most people can feel it. Some people feel it right away. That nagging pain in their knees starts to recede and everything gets a little bit lighter and easier. Others feel it in 2 to 4 weeks. They wake up feeling more fresh and alive. They realize that they're not dragging as much and they're more optimistic about life. Lunch digests more easily and there's energy to keep up with the day's activities all the way into the evening. When you're out on a run or a walk, you think, let's go another mile. And when you get home, you bounce up the stairs just like you used to. This is how life feels when the immune system is running like it's supposed to. It's real health. It's how you're supposed to feel. And the best way to know if it's working is to try this formula for yourself. If you're still here, then you should be ready to give it a try. So click on the button below to choose your package and get started. The next question I get sometimes is, how do I use BioShield Plus? It couldn't be easier. It's just 2 small capsules that you take once a day with your first meal. I recommend people take them with breakfast for all-day energy, clarity, and immune support. Then let the nutrients make their way into your bloodstream where they can deliver all of their immune health benefits. There's no mixing required, no scoops, no packets to fumble around with, and the capsules are small enough that you won't even notice them going down. That's important because BioShield Plus should be taken daily for maximum health and defense. It's an easy, healthy habit, and in my opinion, it's one of the best habits for anyone who wants a long, healthy life. And that brings me to the final question. What if BioShield Plus doesn't work for me? Well, as an MD who spent the first half of his career saving lives and the second half studying immunity, I believe that BioShield will work for you. The clinical evidence behind these ingredients is conclusive. But I also know medicine well enough to know that everyone's body is different. So while most people love their BioShield Plus, every now and then someone doesn't feel what most others do. I suspect that's because their immune systems are already running well. Imagine a car whose engine had 80,000 miles on it. If it had been built well at the start, driven extremely carefully, it was perfectly serviced and it always filled up with premium gasoline, it's probably still running well. And all it would need is the occasional tune-up. And for some people, well, that's their immune system. God bless them and their incredible health. Even so, BioShield's ingredients have real, documented long-term benefits. They can make anyone harder to kill, which is why some of my most health-obsessed patients never miss a serving. But no matter where you fall on the health spectrum, or whether you feel it working or not, my refund policy is unconditional. If you don't like BioShield Plus for any reason, you can get a full refund on your investment. And yes, I mean any reason, even something as small as not liking the color of the bottle cap. And that guarantee is good for a full year. I'm comfortable offering it to you for 2 reasons. The first is that I know how well BioShield Plus works. And the second is that my reputation is on the line. When you think of Suncoast Sciences or Dr. Mark Rosenberg, I want you to think honest, caring, and fair. I've spent decades making sure that patients feel that way about me, and I would never do anything to compromise that. So my customer support team has been carefully vetted and trained to treat you fairly, honestly, and with the utmost of care. As far as I see it, they're an extension of me, and anytime you contact them for any reason, you can expect a helpful, cheerful reply. And yes, that's including asking for a refund of your BioShield purchase. If you don't love what it does for your health, in both the immediate days ahead and for the many years that lie ahead, then you'll get all of your money back. That's my personal guarantee to you. So please go ahead and click on the button below now. On the next page, you can review my medical credentials, study the ingredients in the formula, and choose your package risk-free. Thank you for taking your valuable time with me here. I truly hope you'll make the most of it and start your BioShield Plus habit today. Just click on the button below so we can put my formula to work and make you healthier, happier, and of course, harder to kill.